So how did the language of the play help us understand our characters?
Well, in my case, I actually quite a lovely track because I only played the one character through the play, but it really helped crystallize something with the iambic pentameter, because iambic pentameter, it's used for lots of different reasons, but often there's a status aspect to it and there's a rule of order. And what I love is at the beginning of the play when Macbeth's in conflict and turmoil, like he's considering whether he's going to kill the king, his punctuation is all over the place. Within an 18-line speech, he has like 3 full stops, and every single one is a comma, and there's never a comma at the end of a sentence. It always then flows on, but then he has to stop again. It's all over the place, and it really expresses where he is. Whereas his descent into madness actually comes with an amazing sense of clarity to him, because the more he descends into it, the more sure and the more confident he is about the decisions he's making. And you can see that in his sentences. The full stops start coming again at the end, and the commas start coming at the end of the sentences. They're no longer broken up. He's so sure, and it's reflected in the very structure of the language.
Yeah, and kind of on that, something we talked about a bit in workshops as well, is that on the flip side of that, you have characters like the witches, who don't speak in that normal iambic pentameter. The stress is on the first syllable as opposed to the second iamb, and it has that kind of weird disjointed feel, because the stress is counter to what we tend to do in our normal everyday speech. And so automatically it sort of jars your ears a little bit, and coupling that with what the words they're actually saying, something that obviously in rehearsals and in the show, because we're wearing the gas masks, we had to make sure we were articulating really clearly. And in the process of doing that, I realised quite how many consonants the witches have in their words, like double, like cauldron, boil, bake, that kind of thing. And that coupled with the sort of disjointed rhythm of the kind of trochaic meter rather than iambic, just makes them seem a bit off, just makes them seem a bit weird, a little bit creepy and sinister as well. You're like, are they being honest? Are they not? What are they thinking? That was really fun to play with.
I think Lady Macbeth, her language starts off being really graphic, and she uses this image of the baby and smashing its head in, and it's so gruesome. It's one of the most gruesome images I think that Shakespeare ever paints, and the way she uses her language as well to get what she wants and to break Macbeth down and just kind of destroy him, really. And I think opposite to Macbeth, I think when she descends into this madness, her language breaks up and it becomes prose in her final speech, and it's like full stops and commas are all over the place, and she switches from thinking about one thing to another, and she's just so unaware and just so wrapped in this guilt, and she's just a shadow by the end of it. And that's purely, you can tell that purely by the language.
I think language also helps really paint a picture of the atmosphere of a play and the world that the characters are sitting in and operating within. So if you listen to the imagery that they use and the phrase that keep coming up, it's about sleep, it's about, so much happens at night, it's dark, and you've really helped build this vivid picture for your characters to walk around in and operate in that sense of foreboding and something not being quite right, and there's like a dull stupor lying across everyone that they have to sort of fight through.